I'm Jane Lincoln. Welcome to my studio. I was fortunate to design my space in 1998. My office is separate from my painting section, with lots of books, an area to work with colored papers. I studied with Henry Henchy at the Cape Cod School of Art in the 1980s. This is one of his demonstrations, and more books. And more books with an original Joseph Albers Homage to Squares print. Now I'll take you into my painting studio with North Light. I work in series, too numerable to show them all in this short visit, but you can see them on my website, janelincoln.com. I work on the floor for my paintings. Here you see two in progress. They are collaged painted paper. I save all the scraps and the extra acrylic paint in jars. One of these works is in the museum show Visions Revisions in the Hunter Gallery space. Here is a corner of the studio with paints and charts, and the glass surface I paint on. I will now explain how I came to create my series Enough. I will lead a panel discussion with other artists on the subject of inspiration, the creative process, on Thursday, April 22nd from 6 to 7 p.m. You can sign up on the Cape Museum website. It began in December 2018 when I attended a Grandmothers Against Gun Violence meeting in Falmouth. Since there had been 5 mass shootings in 2018 and I wanted to become involved. On Wednesday, February 14th, the mass shooting known as Parkland occurred at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. 7 students were killed and 17 injured. The students organized a national awareness. Santa Fe High School in Santa Fe, Texas, was the target on Friday, May 18th, killing 10 and injuring 13. On June 28th, the Capital Gazette in Annapolis, Maryland, left 5 dead and 2 injured. During a service on Saturday, October 27th, at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 11 were killed and 7 injured. And the last, in 2018, was at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, California, on Wednesday, November 7th, which left 12 dead and 15 injured. Previously, in September, I had visited the 5th National Monotype Guild of New England at the Art Complex in Duxbury, where I observed a tiny work in which the artist pushed paper to create a raised surface. As a member of the Kingston Gallery in Boston, we had just selected the theme Pushing Forward for our 2019 group show. I was intrigued with the idea of physically pushing the surface, as I had observed at the print show. So I began to hammer a nail through paper. This is the hammer I used as a child to build tree houses, and the largest nail or spike I could find. While I was experimenting with this, SunTrust Bank occurred. These holes looked like they had been shot, so the connection to mass shooting clicked. Research became the next step as I felt compelled to be accurate to each incident and the victims. Then the process of how to layer the colored paper behind the black paper and create the compositions. The layout had to be reversed with the colors, so my background in printmaking became helpful. The first composition I worked on was Sandy Hook Elementary School. I must have done it 5 times at least to get both the composition the way I wanted and to figure out the process. Process is my favorite part of being an artist, the repetition and discovery it promotes. So what may seem like a tedious task in creating these 41 works was easy for me. The very hard part was in the research. I felt compelled to accurately portray each event. There is a notebook at the exhibit which holds all the compositions and the reason for my color choices. To explain the color choices and compositions, I will walk you through First Baptist Church, Sutherland Springs, Texas, Sunday, November 5th, 2017. 26 victims, 20 injured. The colors represent women in red, men are blue. Girls are pink, one boy is pale blue, and one unborn is yellow. The composition reflects the sequence. Starting at the top left, 2 women were killed outside the church. Devin Patrick Kelly, age 26, then entered the church. He shot the visiting pastor, John Brian Holcomb, who is center in blue, and his family. They are in a row under the minister. From the left, they include his son Mark Daniel and his 1-year-old daughter Noah, his wife Carla, daughter Crystal, who was pregnant, and children Emily, 11, Megan, 9, and Gregory, 13. Other victims were seated mostly as family, hence paired up. The enlarged pink hole in the center represents Annabelle Renee Pomeroy. She is the daughter of the minister of the First Baptist Church, who was away on this particular Sunday. One girl, age 7, lower left, died later in the hospital. Devin Kelly fired approximately 700 rounds during the estimated 11-minute-long shooting. Police found Kelly dead in his car with 3 gunshot wounds, including a self-inflicted head wound. He is represented by the black hole at the bottom. Other examples include Inland Regional Center. It was a Christmas party, so mostly couples and a group. McDonald's shows parents and children. The label for each work lists the title as the mass shooting is known, the date, including the day of the week, the location, the victims, and the injured. Those injured suffer from this experience for the rest of their lives. If the shooter died at the scene, he or she is represented with a black hole at the bottom of the composition, seen here at the far right. Mandalay Bay is my largest work, with 58 victims and 851 injured. As I said, the process was easy. The agony was in the research. This series is not about accuracy for the number of mass shootings. Note this chart comparing gun violence archives and my works from 2014 to now. On February 9th of this year, 2021, there was a shooter at a health center in Buffalo, Minnesota. He killed 1 and wounded 4, so it doesn't really fit my criteria for depicting my mass shootings. Please realize that I could never represent all the shootings that occur in the United States. So, my intent is to make visible the hard, cold facts and prompt the viewer to reflect on the loss of life and the impact this has on everyone. Thank you to the Cape Cod Museum of Art for this exhibition, and to Grandmothers Against Gun Violence, who never get thanked enough.